This is WWF WrestleMania Challenge for the Nintendo NES. And you can see we have the cart here with some interesting pictures of wrestlers. We have Hulk Hogan, Randy Macho Man Savage, the Ultimate Warrior, Big Boss Man, and sadly, gone to us, Andre the Giant, who died a couple years ago. We have a really scary intro. And right off the bat, I was pleasantly surprised with the game type options. We have one player versus computer. We have player versus player if you want to play a friend, or we have 1 and 2 player playing against the computer as a tag team. So you can team up with your friend to try and beat the computer. We have a pretty interesting selection of retro wrestlers. Should make for a good time. I didn't even think of reviewing this game until a friend stopped by and saw it lying around. And he said, "Look, it's got Andre the Giant on it. It must be fun to play." So I thought, you know what? It's worth a shot. And I chose my wrestlers. I went with the 3 survival series, whatever they call it, where you pick 3 wrestlers and you wrestle 3 wrestlers. And I went with Andre the Giant, Ravishing Rick Rude, and Brutus the Barber Beefcake, because they were the old names from wrestling that I could remember. That seemed like a lot of fun. They were, you know, out of the business totally and whatnot. You see Hulk Hogan these days, and he's doing his thing, and Macho Man, I think, was doing some Slim Jim promos or something, but you don't hear much about Ravishing Rick Rude or Brutus the Barber anymore. And like I said earlier, Andre the Giant sadly passed away a couple of years ago. And he was a gentle guy from what I understand. Really nice guy. Anyhow, on with the review. I'm sure by now you've noticed that horrible music playing in the background. And the best I can tell is that they must have used their entire budget in securing the rights to the wrestlers featured in the game, and didn't have any more room in the budget to hire any kind of musical talent or secure any rights for any decent music in the game. So you're left with this completely out of place, odd soundtrack. Each match I played was different. It had a different soundtrack, and all of the soundtracks I heard equally felt completely out of place. So yeah, it's as best as I could tell, is they just didn't really put much thought into the sound and just put something behind it so it wasn't completely silent, which I would have probably preferred to the music they put in there. Now, the other thing I noticed was that this game was extremely shallow, and by that I mean the first time I played it, I put it on the 1 player versus computer, and on the single match mode, and it was just that. It was a single match. If you lost, you died, you know, or your game, not you didn't die, but your game was over. And if you won, also your game was over. And so it was, I expected maybe you'd go on with your career and wrestle some more people in one-on-one matches, but that's just simply not the case. So your best option, if you want to play more than 1 match without, you know, restarting the whole system, is to go with a 3-on-3 survival mode, which is kind of a tag team deal. And that at least allows you to wrestle 3 different people before your game's over, instead of 1 or 2. And yeah, this game pretty much blew. It was a pretty horrid gameplay. The button control was really weak. You had the 2 buttons on the NES that had different functions. One was to like throw or do a grab move, and the other was to like punch. And those buttons also doubled as your like pinning button, or if you wanted to stomp on their face when they were down instead of pin them. And that's about it. You didn't have a wide array of moves. If you're going to pick up a wrestling game for the NES, I'd prefer the old pro wrestling as opposed to this WWF travesty. It was a pretty fucking bad game. That's all I have to say. I wouldn't buy it. And this one was slipped in on a large game lot I acquired from an online auction site. So I didn't pay specifically for this game. It just kind of came in a whole bunch of maybe 100 NES games. So yeah, it's not a winner here. I'm your host, Dommie, for Classic Games Revisited. Until next time.